This driving lesson video will suit you if you are a beginner driver who is looking for some guidance on how to change gears properly, how to use the steering wheel with more control, and also if you have any questions or queries about where your feet should be when you're driving. If you want to learn more about driving, whether you are a beginner, an intermediate, or somebody preparing for a driving test, then consider subscribing to this channel and hitting that bell notification where you can be notified whenever I upload a new driving lesson video. So back to this video then on how to have more control with the wheel, gears, and also where to have your feet for the maximum possible control. As a learner driver, knowing where your feet should be is very important. The right foot, for example, is the foot that is going to be used for the accelerator pedal and the brake. We use the right foot for those two pedals because the accelerator and the brake, they're not very deep pedals, so they require a gentle press or a small little tap. So what you should do when you are using the right foot with the accelerator is make sure that you have your heel on the ground. It's so important to have your heel on the ground. You should not have your leg suspended in midair like this, because this puts extra weight and extra pressure is brought to bear on the pedal, and having your leg suspended in midair, it can lead to more pressure, and you can ultimately end up braking or even accelerating too harsh. It's uncomfortable and it's unnecessary. So make sure you have your heel on the ground when you are dealing with the accelerator and the brake. And if you want to move between the two, because the two pedals are more than likely going to be very close together, so by keeping your heel on the ground sort of halfway between the two, you can swivel from the accelerator to the brake and back again. And this little swivel with the heel on the ground means it's easy, and it's kind of like the hinges of a door. So the hinges do the main work, but the weight of the door moves freely. It's kind of like that in some ways. So heel on the ground, and you can move easily then between the brake and accelerator as needs be. What I sometimes see, and what I am always very quick to get rid of with learner drivers, is this thing where they have their legs very far away from the pedals, like you can see here. That's a big no-no. One, because you're not on a bar stool with a pint of Guinness in front of you, and two, it's literally too far for your feet to travel. It can lead to panic and sudden braking, sudden acceleration if your feet have to travel a distance to get to the pedals. Always make sure you have your right foot with your heel on the ground, hovering over the accelerator and the brake. It's safer, it's better, and it's good for easy access, especially in the case of an emergency. The clutch pedal then is a different type of pedal, of course, because it's a deeper pedal. So when you press it in, you can't really have your heel on the floor like with the other two pedals. The clutch pedal is much deeper, it goes in much further. And generally speaking, you can put the clutch in reasonably quick, but you wouldn't come off it very quick because it can lead to jumps and jerks. But in terms of where your feet should be, you need to be aware of, first of all, very often there's a footrest to the left of the clutch pedal on a lot of cars. It's just little elevated step almost, just to the left of the clutch, and that can be a good place to put your foot when you're not using the clutch. That way it's slightly elevated and it's close then when you need to change gears or stop or whatever you need to do. What you need to be aware of as well is you can also have the left foot sort of hovering over the clutch if you feel you're going to use it in the next couple of seconds, but it could also just be resting underneath the clutch. But do not have the left foot underneath the seat with a great distance between the pedal and the foot. You don't want that. Your left foot has to be close by the clutch at all times, just so you have easy access to it for stopping and changing gears. Because the clutch is such a deep pedal, you're not going to be able to have the heel on the ground all the time. So what you would do is you can have your heel elevated off the ground, and then perhaps have the heel on the ground. This is your left foot, of course. Have the heel on the ground maybe halfway, when the clutch is about halfway up and you want to kind of keep it slow. You could drop your heel on the ground then, and that can lead to a nice smooth lift of the clutch for the last bit, and it can lead to smooth driving as well. Let's talk about the gears then. A lot of beginners have some confusion and mix up with the gears, particularly going from first to second gear, because that'll be the first gear change you'll probably make. So what I find a lot of learners do is when the hand drops down from the wheel to the gear stick, they expect the gear stick to be in neutral gear like this. So they expect a drop like this with the hand. But in reality, that's okay when you initially put it into first gear. But when you're going from first to second gear, the gear stick is not going to be here. The gear stick is going to be a little bit further up. So I'm just going to move it into first gear now. So what I always think is a good idea for a nervous beginner is to try and practice the hand motion without looking down. So looking forward like this and seeing where the gear stick is. Because a lot of learner drivers will go like this and they'll end up struggling to find the gear stick, and that leads to panic. So a good idea for a beginner driver is, if you want to get a feel for the gear stick, practice it, practice all the gear changes, but do it like this, looking forward, and have your hands like that to replicate a normal driving position, and just like that, and you can see the way my hand goes down is kind of closer to the controls in the radio here more so, whereas if I was going to second gear, it's going to be more down this area. So looking straight ahead, and there's second gear, and then back to first gear, and it kind of replicates what it would be like if you were driving on the road, because you'd be looking straight ahead. You're not meant to look down when you're driving. So that's one tip I would give to learners, to practice the gears in a quiet car park or somewhere like that, just to get that feel for when the hand drops down, that first gear is very often up this area, not down here. Being comfortable with that can lead to less confusion, less stress, and ultimately more confidence for you, the learner driver. So moving on to the wheel then, it's important as a learner driver that you know how to handle the wheel, where to have your hands, and what type of grip is best. So first of all, you should not have your hands should not be in this position, like a 10-2 position, because that way, if the airbag deploys, your forearms are closer to where the airbag deploys, so that can be dangerous. But having the hands here also means that they're further away from the indicators and the wipers. So as a learner driver, it's good and it's important to have easy access to your secondary controls here, like the indicators and the wipers. So by having your hands here like this in the 1/4-3 position, you've got more space if the airbag deploys, so your arms here won't get as damaged. But also, in a practical sense, you're closer to your controls, which is better if you're a nervous beginner and you're looking to turn the wipers on or indicate at a busy junction or whatever the case may be. So the thumbs in like this, nice grip like that, but try not to be, don't squeeze the wheel, like don't squeeze it like you're lifting weights or anything like that. Just be nice and relaxed like that with the wheel, like a fairly loose grip, but you can still feel the wheel, but you're not kind of gripping it like that, you know. And because if you have all this tension in your hands and arms, it can work its way up to your brain and it can lead to stress. So a nice relaxed pose like that, 1/4-3, easy access to the secondary controls. So let's look at some examples of me using the wheel now, where I'm going to show you how you can be nice and smooth and gentle with the wheel. And what I'm trying to portray here is, you don't want to be doing this kind of movements here where you're going like hasty movements like that with the wheel. I know as learner drivers it can be stressful when you're on the road for the first time. I know it can be nervous and all that, but that's why I always stress the importance of starting somewhere like nice and quiet, like a quiet car park or a very quiet roads, maybe a residential area or something like that, under supervision of course, and that you don't just go out on the road on your first lesson or any of this kind of stuff, because that's just putting yourself under undue stress and pressure. So getting to grips and practicing in a quiet area first kind of lays the foundation. Let's get going here now, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the wheel as we're driving. So I'm going to move out here now to the left, okay? So first of all, I'll go into first gear, and I'm in a sort of a bay here, so I'm just going to check all around there. Little bite, and out I go. It's all safe, and out I go then. So by looking ahead there, we can see there's a couple of bends, so I'm going to have to turn to the right here. But notice how slowly I'm turning, because the speed I'm going matches the speed of the wheel. So I'm going to get the wheel back to straight now, and I'm going to go to second gear. So you notice now I'm in the 1/4-3 position. My thumbs are here, my hands are here, easy access to the controls, and no major tight grips. I'm going to stop here and go straight. So there's no major, I'm not tight with the wheel, I'm not squeezing it like that, I'm not doing any of this, just nice and gentle movements of the wheel. So into first gear there, all good here. bit of a bend ahead now. So watch how I move here slow again because the speed is slow. So I'll give it a few little turns like this. Now notice I'm giving the wheel time to react, see? And then like this, and the wheel is given time to react. Now if you look straight ahead here, put this window. If you look straight ahead here, you'll notice that it's a fairly straight road. I will be going left at the end, but it is a fairly straight road. So there's no need for me now to be doing any of this kind of stuff here. Just slowly let this guy out there now. No need to be doing any of this kind of stuff, like, because that's only going to cause me to weave and you know, look like I've had a few drinks the night before. So just keeping the wheel nice and straight to reflect the road. So I'm going to go left here then. So I check my mirrors, left, check the mirrors again, and I just gently come to the left here like this. Again, giving the wheel time to react, getting a few initial looks in there then. Slight hill, so I'll use the handbrake first gear. Looks all okay there. Again, I'm turning here now and I'm giving the wheel time to react, and I'm straightening up. Now if you look ahead there, you'll notice there is a little bit of a bend ahead, but it wouldn't be the biggest bend in the world. So watch how I handle this with the wheel, okay? So the bend is probably starting around now. See that little gentle movement there? Very slight movement back. Now a little bend again, just a slight movement there. So the movements of my wheel there were so slight that you probably barely even saw them on the screen. Look down here now, another bend ahead. You can see the sign warning us of the bend. So again, I'm going to slow down slightly by deaccelerating, but watch how gentle the wheel is now. No hasty movements. See this? Giving it time to react. Slight straightening up, and I'm going to go on a right bend here now. Again, watch the wheel. So you see that? Nice, gentle movements of the wheel, giving the wheel time to react. And that's why I said to you earlier, it's very important to practice in a quiet car park where you can get a feel for the car and you can see what the car does when you turn the wheel, instead of doing it for the first time on the road. Another bend down here, going to the left. So again, watch the wheel, just turning slightly. Again, the bend is kind of a little sharper than other ones, but look, I'm barely turning the wheel, like, you know, it's not really turning much. I'm giving it time to react. Now I'm slowly going to go back to straight, and again, just letting the wheel react, not doing hasty movements, not squeezing the wheel like this, not having all this tension, just nice hands in the middle like that, slight little movements there, occasionally checking the side mirror as well, left side mirror that is, for my distance on the left side of the road there, so I'm not too far out. So if we look ahead here then, we can see that the road is fairly straight, a little bit of a brow of a hill. So you can see my hands here nicely in the quarter to three position. I have easy access to my wipers here on this side, and my indicators here if I need to. So if I need to use the wipers, because my hands are in the proper position, I can just do that and then turn it off like that. So good to have the hands there for that reason, as I was saying earlier. Bit of a bend here now, so I'll be going to following the bend to the right, but watch how I let the wheel react. So I give it an initial little turn like that, and just giving it time to react, and it becomes straight now. So gradually I get the wheel straight then, and you know, that's what I was saying, just give the wheel time to react rather than giving hasty jumps or hasty jumpy movements or anything like that. So if we look at this bend here then, I'm going to slow down slightly, maybe drop the third gear and gently off the clutch. So I'm aware of the bend, and that's the key thing. By looking ahead and planning ahead, I can see then what type of bend it is, give or take, and my steering then can be reflective of that bend. So this is a very gentle bend. I'm barely moving the wheel, gently getting her back to straight here then like that. Looking further ahead, we can see there it's reasonably straight. It looks like there might be a slight bend to the right up ahead there, but again, you'll barely see my wheel moving now, okay? So it's going to make a slight little movement to the right here now. So you see it's very slight, and there's there very, very slight, and now it's gone straight again. But I'm looking ahead 30, 40, 50 meters the whole time. I can see the sign there warning me of more bends, and by doing that and keeping the wheel movements very slow, very soft and gentle, it can lead to more control and more confidence for you, the learner driver. This is a left bend, so again, slowing down. I might just drop the third gear again because it's on a bit of a downhill. But again, watch the turn, see, just a little bit of a turn right there, gentle turn, give it time to react, then slowly go the other way. Give it time to react. Don't be doing constant left right turns and a little bit left, a little bit right. So any adjustments with the wheel there are very slight and are controlled and measured. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments section if you have any questions, but also let me know in the comments some of the best tips and advice you got from your instructor about how to have more control when driving. If you wish to make a donation by PayPal, you can do so. I really appreciate all the support I've got so far. Links will be in the description and in the first pinned comment. So thanks for watching and safe travels.